Europe Bay Area is an organization that develops kind of students and young adults skills and experiences for closing the opportunity divide. You guys have various programs that not only achieve your mission of doing that, but also kind of gaining insight into the adult world, so-called, of business and like things like that. And we also have a few students who have taken up the year route and can tell us about their experiences there. So thank you guys for joining us today. Could you guys just maybe introduce yourself super quickly and what your position is at Europe?
My name is Felipe Martinez, and I finished the project management track. I'll be doing risk and response escalations for global operations.
Hi everyone, my name is Tiana. I'm in the project management track at Europe, and I will be externing at Facebook as a recruiting coordinator extern.
And I can go next. My name is Jasmine. I was in the IT track for Europe, and I will be the audio and visual technician support team at Facebook.
Hi, I'm Nancy Maldonado, and I just finished the IT track, and I'm going to be doing news operations at Facebook.
And hey everyone, my name is Daryl McDavid. I actually work for the Europe program. I was the recruitment manager for the Facebook site. I'm now switching into a program manager role. So just working closely with young adults along their journey. So we'll just be providing some overall programmatic information about the program, in addition to you all being able to hear from the externs who are actually going through the program.
And my name is Kay Carter. I am actually stepping into the recruitment manager role at Europe at Facebook, and excited to be here with you all. And I will pass it back to you, Arohi.
Awesome, thank you so much. Okay, I think we will just get right into the questions for the students, and feel free to chime in, Daryl and Kay, if you want to say anything else about it. So firstly, why did you guys choose to partake in this program over other programs?
Out of all programs, I think Europe really amplifies the results of what they offer. Other programs, either they want some type of down payment or tuition, and Europe is fully like just 100% free. So I think that's the main difference between them and other programs, is you get paid to learn, and you also along the way you learn how to network and you gain resources. So definitely differs from other programs that are offered out there.
I wanted to add on to what Tiana said. Feel like, well, at least for me specifically, why I chose Europe is because not a lot of programs, schools are like, here's money for you to get an education. It's rare for schools to be like, you know, you're gonna get paid 600 monthly and then 1,000 monthly, like, and a lot of people have bills to pay. You know, people have to work part-time or full-time depending on their situation. And I think another reason why is just like Tiana said, it offers a huge opportunity, and it basically shows results. It's not just like, oh, you get in and you have to pay, like, let's say a huge amount of, let's say $5,000. You don't become into that. So having the opportunity that they pay you and then afterwards you get a job is like, oh, is this actually true? At first you're like, oh, maybe it's not true. But over time, once you learn more about it and get into it, you start realizing, hey, if I put in the work, at the end of this, I'll gain not only like technical skills, but soft skills. You gain a lot from this program, not just like, you know, learning PM or IT or whatever the case may be. So I think that's another reason why I personally joined. But yeah.
And yeah, and just to kind of like piggyback off what Tiana and Nancy said, I think it's just all the amazing opportunities Europe offers, like the chance to be able to gain experience at Facebook. And then there's other companies as well that they're partnered with. So I think all of that is just amazing. And personally as well, I've had like friends who've gone through the program and are like alumni, and they've had like nothing but good things to say about it. They're all working these amazing jobs that they love and they're passionate about. So kind of just seeing those results, I, you know, I took the chance and I wanted to be able to like accomplish that as well.
As for me, I actually never heard of other programs such as Europe. Europe was actually my first time hearing of something where people train you to like potentially become an extern. Because I used to work at, not at Facebook, but I was in the kitchen. I used to be in the culinary. So, you know, I heard about Europe from word, like mouth to mouth from some other people that would talk about, because there would always be like this big rush of like new hirees and new externs. And like there'd be like this big week of like, you know, like we had to do more stuff. But that's when I found out about other people, you know, just talking to them. They're like, oh, what are you externing? And then, oh, that it was from Europe. And then, you know, that's just how I found out that it was based here in Facebook, because that's where I used to work at. So for me, I never really found other programs. I never searched, but that's just because I didn't think it was possible. So when I heard about Europe, I thought, like we've actually mentioned this earlier in the meeting, that we thought it was too good to be true. It's honestly what you make of it. Yes, you're not guaranteed an externship, but you're guaranteed a foot in the door if you decide to, you know, work hard at it and earn it. You know, you got to earn it. But you can get, like, for example, us, we're, you know, blessed to be interning at Facebook, which is, I think, a lot of people's dream company. But like, we had to earn it. We had to, you know, obviously do our work, attend the classes, you know, get out of our comfort zone, do something, you know, of ourselves. But as far as other programs, I never heard of other programs like Europe, to be honest.
Yeah, I'll also just quickly give my perspective as a staff member why I decided to work for an organization like Europe. I kind of had the same experience. I thought this was too good to be true when I first heard about it. I actually grew up in the foster care system, and I did go on to go directly to a four-year university and complete my degree. And I found out about Europe afterwards, but everything that they were teaching to these young people is everything I felt I should have been learning in college, networking, how to understand and navigate these different systems that I had to learn after I had completed my degree. And not only that, it was a program that really, it paid off to, you know, show skills that I had utilized to get my degree, which were dedication, persistence, really just being resilient and overcoming obstacles. I don't think there's many other programs out there that really reward those different key aspects of these young people bring to the program. And so I really appreciated that, and just seeing them all and how they grow and learn how to utilize those aspects in a positive way is really empowering, and it encourages me to really just bring my all to work every day.
Yeah, that sounds great. And in terms of, you know, Europe and pursuing whatever you're doing, like it being in project management or being in the audio and visual field, what have you achieved so far? And for, you know, incoming internships and externships, what do you hope to continue and achieve for the future?
I can start that. For me, like stuff that I've achieved, I would have to go with like the technical skills that I've learned. Definitely the framework of what it means, you know, to be a project manager, like the different components that have to go with how you manage people. You have to be super organized, the self-starter. You have to be able to keep up with your time, make time for other things, all those different aspects and different tools, like how to communicate with others. Because I mean, for us, they instructed us on communicating a lot with like stakeholders, how to give presentations, public speaking, all those different things. So now I feel like, you know, we're more confident when we come to talk, like even to UP, to like other fellow, you know, potential Europe people who want to enroll. We can speak and communicate in a way before that we couldn't before Europe. It definitely opened up it just like broadened the our mindset, the way we process things, and also had to get accustomed to this virtual setting. That's a big thing, because that's something that's going to play a big role in my personal role where I'm being, because I have to communicate with multiple people around the world. And with coronavirus being a thing where we can't be physical, using Zoom and or other kind of, video conferencing tools like this is something that, we even struggled when we started, so all these different things, even like Excel using G Suite, things like that, all those communication tools are gonna like help us, pursue and just expand more. Because obviously, I mean, they teach us fundamentals, but there's much more that we can learn. Like, we never stop learning.
And just to add to what Felipe said, we learned all of those, like Europe equips you with all of those resources and what are the tools and platforms, and also along with those software readiness, along with those lessons, you also learn how to network and communicate just with everybody around you, like not only with the companies that you'll be interning for, but with your colleagues. And you learn how to really just appreciate each other for who we are and how we could help each other along the process of us all learning. So what I've achieved during this learning and development phase is definitely my networking skills. I've been able to reach out to people that I thought I would never have conversations with, and because I'm really shy. And that's another thing that I overcame and have achieved is my fear of speaking publicly. By this point, I would be shaking and just stuttering, but with the practice that Europe has allowed me to practice, I've been more confident and just a lot more patient with myself. And through those mistakes, because nobody's perfect. Public speaking doesn't come easy, but through practicing and just knowing that you are knowledgeable with what you're talking about, it's gonna come out smooth. So throughout the mistakes, it's gonna still sound, your message is still gonna come out. So that's definitely achievement to me, because usually I just babble and sometimes I feel like my point doesn't come across, but that's one thing I've achieved. And in the future, I just want to be able to build a solid work network where unemployment won't be a thing with the network that we have. So thank you. That's the achievement so far, and more to come.
And then kind of just to go off what Tiana and Felipe said, one of the things that I learned a lot were and Europe does focus on is soft skills. So whether that be like networking, email etiquette, or kind of just those skills that allow you to really succeed in like the corporate world, because a lot of us have never really like had a job like this before. So it kind of really teach you how to I guess like act in that whole like environment, that work environment, so that you don't feel like out of place and all of that. As well as you learn a lot of hard skills depending really just on the track that you get. I was MIT, and at the very beginning I knew nothing about it. But I am very grateful that is the track that I got, because of that I was able to learn how to like troubleshoot, Active Directory, command lines, terminals, all stuff like that I didn't even know I could learn. All of that has been like amazing to really get experience, and not hands-on, but get that experience even through this virtual. And yeah, and so far that's what I have achieved for myself, learning all these new IT skills and stuff like that. And then for the future, kind of just my main goal right now is to just as best as possible in my externship and get converted, or if not, kind of just go out there and build my network and land a job at the future. Yeah.
Nice. Those are great answers, ladies. And I just want to step in as a staff member. As you hear, like you, as a student at Europe, you can achieve the achievements that are at your disposal are endless. It's really what you make about the program. And I think one of our externs said that earlier. It's about what you make the program. We do provide high support, but we do have high expectations of our externs. So it really is what you make it. If you get into the program, we will support you. We will make sure you have everything you need to achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve through this program and beyond. So.
Yeah, that sounds great. Does anyone else want to add anything, or shall I go to the next question?
I have a question, Arohi. You mentioned that you could be converted. Could anybody speak to that and describe how it works?
I can speak to that. So at externship, our students are giving all of the skills and tools they need to be successful. How well they perform during externship will decide whether at the end of that 6 months, they're converted to a full-time position. Now that is at the discretion of the employer, but we like to send our students in with everything they need possible to be converted and successful within that externship.
So that's why you hear them, like you probably heard all of them talk about networking, because again, when we say that we expect them to go into their externship portion of the program and creating opportunities, that's the next phase for all of them, right? They're going to go in and not only create great connections with their team, but also expand throughout Facebook, because they don't know where the opportunity to stay within the company will be. And so the idea is that they go and they meet as many people as possible, so that when that 6-month externship comes into an end, they can tap into that network and increase their opportunities of being able to land a full-time role or contract with Facebook.
And also to add to that, that's something that a lot of people tell us, like to not be, discouraged if we're not converted, because like Daryl said, and Kay said, they're arming us with like things that we could take anywhere, not just to Facebook. And actually, I had an informational interview with someone that said that like, if you don't get converted, you shouldn't see it as a, he sees it, having this different experience from different tech companies as a positive, because it just makes his resume look better. He becomes a better candidate when he applies to different places. So definitely, like, conversion shouldn't be. I mean, yeah, it could be a goal, but like, it shouldn't be the ultimate goal, because like maybe you don't like where you're working at. We're barely entering our externships, and some of us might not like where we work at, so we might not want to be converted full time. So it's just definitely context.
All right, one more question, Arohi. With Get Involved internships, we're all about community engagement, mainly with high school students, but we teach in our curriculum how to do informational interviews, and we teach that that's key to making connections to your interests for post high school, anything you want to do. Is that part of the program with Year Up, is teaching that process?
Sorry, really quickly before you all answer that, I just want to do a quick intro for Joel, another one of our amazing externs who just hopped on.
Hi guys.
Welcome.
What's that? So I don't know. Okay, my name is Joel Alvarado. Currently gonna intern with as a global workplace operation assistant. Oh no, that was my intro.
Thank you, Joel. So Christina, to answer your question, yes, that is a part of our curriculum to make sure that our students have that, not only that networking, but that resume building and that interviewing skill set available to them prior to the externship. And the way we do that is by coaching them one-on-one and as a group, as a small group, on a weekly basis. I think we meet 3 times a week. To coach these students on how to get to that point where they're ready to actually perform well in that externship interview.
Sounds good. Yeah, hi Joel. Feel free to just chime in and answer any of the questions to the best of your ability. Christina, do you have anything else? Any more questions?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I know the question was about informational interviews, but I know a lot of our interns have had a chance to do. So I'm not sure if any of you want to speak to your experience with how those informational interviews have gone for you.
My first informational interview, I was super nervous because it was with like a director at Salesforce, and he was like in his 50s, I believe, and I just didn't know what to. I'm very respectful, but I was still nervous. It was like talking to my uncle, and it was just really fun at the end of it. Like I was really nervous, but getting into the conversation, it really was ease, because you're thinking like people don't want to talk to you, but in all reality, there's people that want to share their wisdom, they want to support, and they want to help. So it's like, as long as you come with respect and a willingness to learn, then I'm pretty sure all of your informational interviews will go great. And as long as you are, you come prepared, make sure people know that you respect their time and that you're going to use their time to a great advantage, because you don't want to sit there and be like, so what's your favorite color? But I mean, I'm not saying that's not important, but you know, get good information that's going to help you grow. So.
I can add on, kind of like what Tiana said, doing our first informational interview was very like nerve-wracking, and actually Europe kind of does partner you up with like your first one, and they really do prepare you and kind of guide you through it. They give you all the resources that you need to kind of like, you know, come up with good questions that, like Tiana said, would really help you get as much knowledge as possible, because these interviews aren't that super long, so you really want to use all the time and obviously respect their time as well. So yeah, they just really help you along with that. And at the end, even though you're nervous at the end, you kind of just get into this flow of conversation with your person, and it really just helps you out a lot. And then just with more practice, you're able to kind of get more comfortable with reaching out to other people to ask for, like, you know, more interviews, and you don't get as nervous, kind of like with all that practice you get.
Yes, and then just to add on to what Jasmine said, at the end of your interviews, you could always ask for feedback. So on your next informational interview, you could implement that feedback, and you're just gonna keep growing, and you're gonna continue to be great. So it's all beneficial.
Just to add on to that, when you are done with your informational, you want to follow up. It's very important to follow up with a thank you email, because that shows your professionalism and you know that you actually care about their time and stuff like that. So you always want to follow up with a thank you email. Do not forget to follow up with a thank you email. And when you study for your informational, you usually look up this person through LinkedIn, and then you want to ask questions that at the end of the information, you want to be like, oh, okay, now I kind of know more about my role as a whether you choose. For example, us, we had a choice of IT or project management. So you want to make sure that you feel like you got something out of the information interview, not just like Tiana said, what's your favorite color? You know, like you want to make sure that you know more about your role. But yeah.
Cool. Then I guess we'll go on to the next kind of discussion, which is kind of how we've all had to adapt to this COVID-19 crisis, working from home, trying to manage things from home and everything. So specifically, how have you guys been able to adjust to the crisis and working from home in your own little space? And, you know, how has it been, how has your experience been working with peers in a virtual setting, like on Zooms and things like that?
I will add on to that. When we first got told that we're going into virtual setting, it was upsetting because I was going into a program that's just in person, not virtual. And I've never done Zoom before Europe. I never did any of, meetings through virtual. So for me, it was like, how am I gonna do it in a week to find a space? Some of us live with big families, some live on our own. Depends. Everyone's different. For my case, I live with a lot of people. So in a week, I had to find a space to make it work, and having to find a laptop that's gonna work for me, because my personal laptop has too much space, and it was just a lot of work to make it figure it out, especially I'm in the IT track. But the good side to Europe is they offer resources. They offer, I think Tiana mentioned it in the info session, they offer like Wi-Fi. I forgot what they're called, but they offer it, like, let's say if you don't have Wi-Fi connection and your Wi-Fi is constantly getting disconnected, they offer that for you so you can borrow it. Currently, I'm actually using a Europe laptop because, like I said, my laptop can be slow. And to make things easier, they lended me a laptop to borrow. So those are the things that Europe does. They help you, like, let's say if you need financial support, or let's say emotional support, because let's be honest, the coronavirus made us, stay at home for so long that Europe did the best of their ability to offer those resources to every student. And they would constantly be like, is there any student resources do you need? And we'll be like, no, we're fine. We have more than enough, like, we're fine. So I think the good side to being virtual is now everything's changing around the world. Now people are gonna work more remote. So now as Europe externs, we now have the experience of how to work Zoom, how to work remotely. Before we didn't. So just getting hands-on experience on that gives us more opportunities to different jobs, get new connections. It's a huge advantage from my perspective. But even if there was some bad sides to it, there was more positive sides to it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd like to add to what Nancy said. Definitely also your mental well-being is important, like while on Zoom, because like I've heard multiple people say that, they just can't handle the pressure of being, in one place for so long. And to add being on a screen as well really affects your eyes. So definitely taking some time to like walk around, go outside more often, exercise, whatever it is you have to do to get your mind off, the computer and deliverables, whatever other work you have to do while in Europe is very important, to like succeed, just so you don't burn out. Because that's something that happened to me, and that's actually why I got my first infraction, because I burned out and I wasn't taking care of my well-being, my own mental well-being. And then I found out, it's important to, really step out, once in a while, even though you feel like you can take it all on, because that's honestly what I thought, that I could just take it all and keep going, but it's not. Like, you get tired, you get burned out, and that's something that you'll meet. I don't know if you'll meet him, but definitely one of our instructors, he's like a health coach. He definitely taught us to, like, definitely look out for ourselves, not get there's nothing wrong with motivation or being ambitious, but like, do pace yourself, so you can reach the end, because there's still more after L&D. Like us, we're heading off to externship, so there's more that we have to do, and we have to in this short 6 months, we have to learn all those things, how to pace ourselves, time management, all those things, and even how to take care of ourselves as well. We have to learn that too, because we're dealing with a completely different, like, jobs that none of us have ever held before, going to a tech company. So definitely take care of yourselves as well, not just, not just your work. I mean, that's important, yes, your work, but take care of yourselves as well. Look after yourselves.
Thank you, Felipe. That's so true. Because if we didn't have that mindfulness elective that Europe offers, we probably wouldn't be able to have dealt with virtual as smoothly as we did. It was rough, but we were able to definitely utilize all of those breathing exercises and stretches that we were blessed to receive. And we also got a certificate for that elective. So it was a great opportunity, and it taught us some great skills that we could take throughout our whole life. And just, it's so beneficial. I never knew that I would be meditating, and I had the opportunity to learn how to meditate. And that's what really helped virtual become kind of like just doable, and just pacing ourselves, like Felipe said, and making sure that we are giving ourselves that time to have a calendar out, but not get too ahead of ourselves, and just one at a time. So, yeah.
I think that your question was how virtual was a challenge, if I'm not wrong.
Sorry. how was your experience in using a virtual setting, because we can't do many things in person anyway? Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously knowing that everybody else was going virtual kind of calmed you a little bit. But I think the biggest question for me was, how can I be the same Joe that I was in person through virtual? It's so much easier to hide virtual. You can have your camera off. You want to make sure that you show that you're there. What I mean by that is like, how can my voice be heard through virtual? So like finding ways, like there'll be ways of like for you to like show yourself out and stuff like that. So make sure you take advantage of that stuff. Because like I said, it is easier to hide virtually. So make sure you don't you don't hide. Um, yeah, it also shows that you're involved as a class or with the instructor. But yeah, it was a fun challenge.
Yeah, and kind of just to add on to that, Europe did a really amazing job with us going virtual in like such a short notice, with like, giving us loaner laptops if we didn't have any at home, the portable Wi-Fi's like they mentioned, and kind of just still giving us that like Europe community experience that we had all like originally had signed up for, and it's a very like hands-on like team building experience, in person. But with being virtual, they were still able to give us that and give us all those advantages. And then like what Nancy said, so many companies are going virtual now and working remotely. So it is really just a huge advantage that you can always add on to like your resume. It's a really big skill that's just going to be really important in the future. And now that you can kind of say like you're basically like an expert at it, and they can really help you along the way.
I can definitely add. I'm just as a staff member, just glad to hear from our young people that we were able to create that community. Because for us, it's definitely a huge component. Like the skills that they learned, as far as the hard skills and soft skills they learn, definitely critical to their experience. But when they go off to externship in this next phase, we know we know that the community that they've built, being able to rely on one another, having that network to tap into to say like, hey, struggling with this, that's what's really going to push them to the next level and allow them to go above and beyond. So seeing how they've continued to tap into that community, and they've like taken it to places we could have never imagined. We couldn't have imagined what they've been able to create. But for us, really just grateful that we've been able to still create that, and that they've been able to embrace it in such an amazing way.
And what has inspired you guys to kind of take the role on and take the pathway that you're taking into Europe? And I understand that you guys are all kind of doing different things and everything, but you're all, the one connection that you guys, I guess, one have is Europe and taking that same pathway and experience. So what's inspired you to kind of do that or motivated you?
I'll jump in for that question. I think really just right off the bat, our instructors that we work with, they're very inspiring. Their work ethic, the way they communicate with us, the material that they choose to help our mind expand and grow, like, is very useful. And the questions that we have as warm-up questions, it's like, it helps you think, and it just opens up like possibilities and mind waves, and you're just like, well, I never thought of something like that. So definitely the instructors, they come from all sorts of walks of life, and they come together as a group, and they impact a whole community. So without them, I don't think we would be as informed or as driven, inspired as we are, because we're the ones that need to be guided, and they do the guidance. So definitely appreciate their work, because it's inspiring. And just the alumni of Europe, they've definitely inspired us with their hard work and their testimonies from the program. Just hearing those is just inspiring. So there's so much to be inspired of, and I don't want to take up all the time, but yeah, thank you.
I wanted to ask if you can rephrase the question so I can answer it.
Yeah, sure. What's been, if there's any specific thing, a motivation that you might have had, inspiration, something that's driven you to get to where you are today?
For me specifically, I think my current class already knows what I'm gonna say. I just feel like when you come from a low income community that doesn't have much opportunities, it's like once you see something that's gonna give you like stability and success, it's you go for it. Like, I mean, when I saw it, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna, dive in and go for it. Also like being a woman of color in tech, that's a huge thing. There's not a lot of women of color in tech. The numbers aren't that high. And I personally I'm a huge advocate when it comes to low income communities and, women of color in tech and, just surrounding that community. Because I know from what I remember growing up and going to public schools, we don't get the same education as those who go to private schools. It's unfortunate, um, due to the fact that the education system can be different from other schools. And for me personally, when something is offered in a community, it's like it's something that's not given easily. And that's why a lot of people are like, okay, is this real? Is this actually true? Some people think it's a scam because, not everything is offered to us. Not everything comes with a price, like people say. Not everything comes easily. So when me and my colleagues found out about it, we're like, hey, is this true? Is this really real? So I think my inspiration being is just making a difference, not only for myself and my family, but making a difference for those who seek opportunities and who can't get it due to the fact, they live in low income communities. So just providing that and, reaching out to individuals who have dreams and goals. Because me personally, I have dreams and goals, but, I dropped out of college because it was too expensive and I didn't want to deal with, loan debt. I was like, you know what, I'm just going to work. I'm just going to work full time. I'm just going to do that. But I knew I was better than that. I knew that there was so much more than that. And when Europe was right there, I'm like, you know what? I'm going for it. And just, mm, you know, being someone who's from here is what inspires me. And, you know, telling the youth, teenagers, telling them, hey, you can do the same thing, just what I'm doing. So, yeah.
To add on,
Sorry, you can go.
oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Jasmine.
Thank you. And yeah, to kind of just add on to that, Europe talks a lot about like your why and like your why as to why you started this program, and your motivation as to why you keep going in it. And as cliche as it may sound, it really does inspire and motivate you. Personally, like just wanting a better future for myself, and like for my family, and that really does like help you to be inspired and be motivated because you do get a little burnt out doing the program, and you get tired. All of a sudden you have so many projects due at the same time, like in the same week, and you do get tired. So kind of just going in and remembering your why really does help. And also everybody just around you who's really inspires you. We have moms in the program, people who work during the night or do all of these extra things, and you're just so inspired by everyone that come from all these different backgrounds and their different stories and struggles, and just really everyone will just inspire you to just work hard. You'll have this one common goal at the end, and just really everyone really helps push each other and stay and push our community.
Felipe, you wanna?
Yeah, I'll go. To just to add on to what Nancy said, and just being part of a movement, because that's honestly the biggest like role that Europe has, as I stated, to close the opportunity divide. And that's something that for me as well, similar to Nancy, just want to make a change, want to see difference in like different companies. And I feel like, especially with all the racial injustices that have been going on recently, like to try and change the infrastructure of like how tech companies are right now is like something that really inspires me to make a change, because everyone has, we probably weren't dealt the same cards, growing up, and like couldn't do certain things, as Nancy stated, like some of us couldn't afford to go to college, um, or maybe it's just school sometimes is not just the right fit. Sometimes people just feel like they can't go to school. And that was one of those, because I actually dropped out of college as well. And that's why I went to like Europe, because school just wasn't for me. I just can't learn, different things. I'm more of a on hands type of person. I have to be involved. So definitely Europe gave me that kind of like that opportunity to seek out like a higher education. I mean, I still would like to go back to college, because let's face it, like having a college degree is still good, even if it's not, the end all of everything. Having a degree still makes a difference sometimes when going different places. So definitely, I still want to do it. And just for me as a personal, as you could say, personal selfish goal, I just want to be smarter. I just like to learn new things. So that's why I want to go back to school after Europe. But first, like that's what keeps me going. My why, to land a career at a tech job, and from there I kind of like laid the groundwork for me to go and pursue other things I want. You know, or maybe even continue. Maybe I like where I'm at right now at my externship, and I'll probably just stay there. So that's something that I've also thought about, just like climbing the ranks of wherever I'm at to like get better, learn new things.
That was good. Uh, I remember the first week of program. They showed us some graphs and like some percentages of like different races and how much that race is in the tech company. And talking for my race, like the Latin community, I remember that it was so low, and I was like, oh, that's why I'm here, because to this graph or to this low percentage, I'm not supposed to be here. So guess what? Now that I'm here, I might as well just add 1% to that graph. So that's my motivation, for that graph to like just keep growing, and hopefully one day see it, on top. But yeah, that's my motivation.
Yeah, that sounds good. All of these things are really inspiring, especially when you come from a low income community and low backgrounds, to get to somewhere where you guys are now. That is really inspiring. And kind of lastly, for people, high schoolers like Katie, Hannah, and I, college students, or just young adults and adults in general, what advice do you have for them, for young entrepreneurs who kind of want to take the same path or just don't know what to do yet?
I'll jump in really fast. I want to say just focus on you. Don't get distracted by what society wants you to believe, Just be true to you and put yourself first. Definitely focus and just keep that focus, and you will for sure achieve your goals, because focus, dedication, and that could only bring you down a great route. And yeah, don't get distracted. There's so many distractions out there. Don't get distracted. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And you'll be proud of yourself in the long run that you took that responsible decision and just read that book, or you studied for that test. You're going to really appreciate that when you get older, because from my own experience, I didn't take high school serious at all. I had a 0.08 GPA. I didn't even know that was possible. So when I seen that on my report card, it was like my junior year. I was like, wow, I'm nothing. Like, I have no nothing. And my mom was like, that's not even in the statistics. Like, she was so disappointed in me. But she's really proud that I've grown into this person that I am. But I didn't stay focused at all those times. So when I look back, I always think, like, if I would have just stayed focused, if I would have really believed in myself instead of doubting myself, it would have been different. But we do have to go through those things in order to appreciate these things. So that's my advice for you, and I hope that helps.
That was beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Tiana. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a full-time entrepreneur, actually. I own and operate a marketing business and a vending machine business. And if you're a young entrepreneur, especially if you know you want to be an entrepreneur so young, like I knew in high school that I was going to have a business of some sort, right? I would actually suggest a program like Europe because it gets you where you're going faster. I did take the traditional approach, 4-year college and a 2-year master's program. However, I could have gotten where I am a lot quicker if I knew about programs like Europe. And that's why I work here. That's why I put all my energy here into this program and into these students that inspire me every day to show up and be the best version of myself. So if you are in high school and you're thinking about like what are next steps, I took a different route, and I love my journey. I love my route, but it was pretty expensive. And I could have gotten there with a program like Europe if I knew it existed for people like us. So.
Kind of just to add on to that, like what Tiana said, just being determined and focused, and kind of just not putting yourself out there and being open to all these different opportunities, and not being afraid to like fail or make mistakes, because they're gonna happen. You know, everyone does them, and kind of just not bringing yourself down whenever it does happen. You can only go up from them. So I think just staying really motivated and focused, and not comparing yourself to people's journey, to other people's journeys. You know, everyone has a different one. Everyone takes a different route, like what Kay said. But yeah, kind of just focusing on yourself and knowing that you will get there, and focusing on your goals.
I'd like to add to what Jasmine said. Definitely don't be afraid of like messing up. That's something that this actually is something I heard back in college, but it was like from a professor who told me if you ever want to succeed, you know, it's important to fail fast and fail hard, but make sure you don't ever repeat the mistakes you made. You know, don't ever commit the same mistake twice. I mean, it's fine. You can make as many mistakes as you want. Just make sure it's not the same mistake. And definitely don't forget you have you all understand, like if you all ever get in the program, but like that sense of building community is something that like I didn't take, you know, seriously at the beginning. But like everyone said, the bonding just happened just naturally. You didn't even have to try much. We just immediately clicked with like different people and just got along with everybody. Don't forget that you have those support systems, because over these 6 months you'll develop those relationships, and you'll have all those different people you can reach out to in case you're struggling with whatever it might be. It could be program or personal, whoever, because definitely, you know, some tight bonds are made during L&D with different people, different friends. Just don't forget there's people to reach out to, and the staff as well. They're always willing to help. They're always willing to listen. Your coaches will get like coaches, and like those are the people that you can, you know, just go to and be, you know, as real as you can, as you're willing to be, you know. Definitely be transparent.
I'll say if you're too comfortable where you are right now, then I would say there's this thing say that you're not growing. Uncomfortable challenges you to, you know, do certain things that you didn't do before. I think Europe does a great job taking you out of the comfort zone and you know, growing these new skills that you didn't have before. Adding on to Kay, Europe is a well-known program for these big companies, these tech companies. They know like what Europe produces. So what she was saying about, you know, it gets you there faster. That's the reason why, because they know what kind of students come out of Europe. So yeah, What is it? I was gonna say something. Chase the uncomfort, because that makes you grow. There you go.
I really like that, Joe. I don't really know how to follow what you all said. You know, they all hit everything on, like, you know, head on the nail. Only thing that I would add, you know, like everyone talked about, you know, this job really inspires me because I always wanted to change what I was seeing. Growing up in the foster care system, I never wanted that to define me. So when it came to my career, I was really looking for an opportunity to work with young adults and give them the opportunity to, you know, be noticed for what they were really capable of. You know, I saw so many young adults out there being overlooked, young adults who had unmeasurable amounts of talent who just weren't being given opportunities. So for me, even if I don't accomplish anything in my career from this point on, being able to work with these young adults and position them where they can go on and continue to have that ripple effect and continue doing this work is more than enough for me. And the fact that I get to continue doing this work and working with more young adults, and they get to just, every one of them gets to like send that ripple effect a little bit further. That to me keeps me coming back to this job every day. So yeah, I'll leave it there.
Awesome. That sounds great. And that's from all I have for me. So if there's anything else that anybody wants to add, please feel free to do so. Any questions that people might have. But other than that, thank you guys so much, staff and students, for coming and talking about your experiences. It was extremely helpful, at least from my perspective. And for people who are watching, go check out Year Up Bay Area and go check out Get Involved.